Hi, my name's Abrielle, and I started my YouTube channel a few years back, just doing music covers and just our family trips and stuff, but I've been really busy and I haven't been able to make any videos in a long time, so I thought that I should make a video about just what we've been going through this past month with just the coronavirus, and recently lots of states have just closed down. Pretty sure almost all of them are completely shut down, and it's like 40% unemployment right now, which is crazy. In the Great Depression it was about 20%, so it's really crazy right now. I've never seen anything like this, and a lot of people that I've talked to, like my parents and people who have lived a lot longer, have never seen anything like this. So what is going on right now? Well, I wanted to take some time to just share what the Lord's been showing me about what's been going on, and hopefully this would be useful for you and ultimately grow you and your family closer together and closer to Jesus. So I've been working on a cruise ship for the past year, and hence why I haven't had much time to make videos. I've been just working and working. So when I got sent back home a few weeks ago, when I found out that my ship was closing down and everything, the first thought I had was, wow, like, I think the Lord is giving me time to spend with Him. And I didn't really know what. I knew that was from the Lord, but I didn't know the depths of it until more recent. So I've just been seeking the Lord a lot, and I've been watching a lot of things and praying, and I really, really feel like Jesus is coming back a lot sooner than I can even fathom, than we think. He's coming back so fast. A lot of what He's been speaking to the church has just been very kind of the same message. I've been seeing a lot of things that are just the same, and what the Lord's been showing me too. I wanted to share this dream that I had in August of 2015. This dream was it was the most vivid dream that I've ever had. The colors were just so vibrant, and I really felt like I was there. And in this dream, there was a huge crowd of people standing, looking at these two paths, and there's two entrances to these two paths. Jesus was standing in the middle of the entrances, and one was this beautiful brick path. It was ginormous. It had a huge arc over it. It was paved, like, very beautiful. And the other one was literally like an animal trail that you would find if you were going hunting. Like, it wasn't really even a path that you would recognize. And Jesus was standing in between the two paths, and He just held His arms out and He just said, "Choose." And thousands and thousands of people all just bombarded this wide path, and they were all just going down this path. And immediately I looked over at Jesus, and He just started walking down the narrow path. So in my mind I thought, well, I'm gonna follow Him. So in the dream I followed Jesus, and it was like, have you ever had a dream where it's hard for you to see, really? And that's how it was in this dream. When I got on this path, it was really hard to see, and the path itself was very windy and rocky and very, very small and hard to follow. But I was just following. I just remember looking down, and I was following Jesus' footsteps. At the very end of both paths, there was a giant body of water. You could see the wide path from where I was standing on the narrow path, and people were jumping into the water, and it was red, and fire was underneath, and people that were jumping from the wide path into the water were sinking down and screaming and crying and in agony and just sinking down to the bottom, to hell. And immediately I got a little bit hesitant in the dream, and I thought, if I jump in, will I sink, or will I be okay? And I saw people jumping in, a few people that were on the narrow path jumping in to the water and immediately were filled with joy, and they were splashing in the water and playing. And so right before I jumped in, I looked over at the wide path, and I saw this lady who was on the wide path, and there was like a median, there was like a half wall in between the two paths connected to the wide path. And she leaned up onto the median and she looked around to see if anyone was looking, and then she jumped over. And in my mind I thought, she's cheating. I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder if Jesus saw that. That was just the thought that I had in the dream. Then I ended up jumping into the water, and I was filled with joy, and I was splashing, and I followed. Jesus just continued out of the water and just continued, and we just continued to follow him. So when I woke up, I knew that dream was from the Lord. And I just woke up with joy, but also a lot of sadness because of all the people that went down the wide path that ultimately died. And this is something this is such a huge thing that a lot of the world doesn't understand, that there is only two paths. There's only two. There's not a bunch of paths that lead. There's not a bunch of religions, a bunch of paths that all lead to the same God. No, there is two paths. And we get a choice to make whether or not we're going to go on the wide path and follow the ways of our flesh and do all the things that please us here on this earth and live for ourselves and ultimately end up going to hell, or we can choose to follow Jesus and go down this narrow path that is hard. Yes, it is difficult to do. And I believe that as you walk down this path, it gets harder and harder. It's harder and harder to follow the way that Jesus has called us to go. But it is so worth it in the end. When you get to the end and Jesus tells you, well done, good and faithful servant. That, I can't even imagine what it would be like to say, yes, I'm a Christian my whole life and believe that I love Jesus and live for myself, and hear at the end of my life Jesus say, depart from me, I never knew you. I can't even imagine how that would feel. I would never wish anyone to experience that, and I want everyone to follow Jesus and to come alive in him. In Matthew 7, verse 13, you can see where this dream is right here in the Bible. It says, enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. I feel like the Lord wanted me to share this dream, and even though I did have it, that was 5 years ago, it is still true. It was still true then when Jesus spoke it in the Bible. It's still true now. There are two paths, and I really feel like the time that the Lord's given us for Christians, for believers, people who love Jesus, for this time, we don't have work. We are just sitting at home, most of us, and this is a great opportunity for us to spend time with Jesus and pray, intercede for people, and fast, because Jesus is coming back soon. And I believe that we are living in the end days. I believe Jesus is going to start pouring out his wrath upon the earth very, very, very soon. And I do not want to be in the boat where a lot of people are going to be in, where Jesus comes back and we're not ready and we're not looking for him. We haven't been seeking him, we haven't been praying, we haven't been just spending time with him. And if that's the case, he's going to come back like a thief in the night, and we're not going to expect it, and he's not going to take us back with him. He's not going to come back for a bride that is unclean and not ready for him and not waiting for him. He wants to come back for the bride that is clean, that is ready for him, and that has purged herself of sin. And the way to do that is to spend time with Jesus. And when you spend time with Jesus in his presence, he cleans those things out of you. He doesn't just cover your sin. He completely wipes it away. He completely takes it out of you and he turns it into righteousness. And that's ultimately his goal for the bride. He wants the bride to be spotless. So I just encourage you, wherever you are, whoever's watching, I just encourage you to take whatever time we have right now during this quarantine, during this social separation, to get with Jesus and spend time with him alone in your prayer room and read in the scriptures and pray for people that don't know him. Woe to them who don't know Jesus when he comes back. You'll be amazed at what Jesus will do with the fruits of your labor and the fruits of your prayer. You'll be amazed. In Chronicles 7:14. But right before that, it actually addresses the things that are going on right now. It says, then the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said to him, I have heard your prayer, and I have chosen this place for myself as a house of sacrifice. When I shut up heaven and there is no rain, hence the drought, Australia, or command the locusts to devour the land, that's going on right now in Africa, or send pestilence among my people, so disease, coronavirus, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. Spot on what's going on right now. So we as a church need to humble ourselves, seek Jesus, repent of sin, turn away from sin. If you know that you're living in sin, ask Jesus to forgive you and just turn away, just stop whatever it is that you have been doing. He is just and he is faithful and he will forgive our sin and he will heal this land. So thank you and Jesus bless.